welcome to Surviving as a Civilian, the AAR. I am Scott, here as always with my friend Andrew.
Hello, Scott. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking. So this week we're going to talk about Torrey Crossman's episode and introduce next week's episode.
Yeah, Tori's episode, he was our first officer. Well, he did a good job of getting into stuff that us enlisted guys didn't really have an idea of, like the ROTC program.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't know much about that. I didn't know much about I knew what commissioning sources were. I just didn't know exactly how, like their commitments were once they picked a certain branch or a certain duty station.
Yeah, I never even really thought about it. Like I saw the ROTC kids in my college when I went there, but I had no idea what they were doing. They were just in uniform and they had like different ranks on their chests and stuff. Couldn't really tell like who they were or what they were doing. But it's pretty interesting that you have to make such a long commitment for he said it could be up to like 6 years if you choose your duty station and stuff, which is pretty cool to know about now. But wish I knew about it before, I guess. Had my college paid for and been an officer, but probably not. I probably wouldn't have gone to college then.
So Andrew, you had people that were in ROTC at the college you went to?
Yeah, there was a obstacle course like by the soccer fields that I would always see them doing that stuff, and they would wear their PTs and they would wear uniforms like all day at school. So I definitely saw them, and they had an office in like the main building that had Lieutenant Colonel. He was probably like the guy running it and stuff.
So did you go and talk to any of those guys that were in uniform?
No, I did not. I just acted. I didn't talk to anybody. I just laughed at him.
What else did you like about Tori's interview?
It was hilarious that he could not open the door.
That was funny, especially I was when he was describing he was watching other people how they got in and out before he made his move.
Yeah, such a classic brand new officer. Awesome. What was really cool that I had no idea about was the career skills program that he did, where he apprenticed at a company that was in the field that he actually ended up working in after. I thought that was really cool that he brought up that information, and new soldiers getting out now can take that opportunity and check it out at least.
Yeah, the CSP, the Career Skills Program that he spoke about, I think that's a relatively new thing. Up in the office where I work at, a lot of people when they retire, they choose to do that. You don't even have to retire, even if you ETS, you can go do that. It's an approval from whoever. I don't know who approves that. I think, but it's a pretty cool program. A lot of guys have been getting into it. We just had a guy that retired as a master sergeant, and he got a construction management supervisor job in Kansas City, making a pretty decent amount of money right out of the Army. So it's a good program. I don't know if it's specifically to engineers, but I think it's a really good program.
Yeah, it's good just to get the information out. So if people are getting out soon and they listen to our podcast and they never heard of it, they can at least look it up and check it out. And yeah, the construction trades are paying a ton of money right now. Like he was saying, like crane operators, they're one of the higher paid construction jobs, and a lot of them just pay a lot of money. So I was in construction prior to joining the Army, and I actually took a pay cut to join the Army. So construction is definitely a good option for soldiers getting out of the Army. It's a good industry for them to look into.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think nowadays, when I was growing up, focus used to be on college, go to college, go to college. But now, I think you can do just as well by taking a trade as opposed to getting some sort of secondary degree.
Yeah, and I know a lot of the trade unions. A lot of them are unions, the higher paid ones. They have phenomenal health care, and that was something that he brought up too for soldiers that are getting out of the Army, is to study and know what you want for healthcare and what's it's going to cost and what benefits come with what jobs. And that's a really big thing for people who have families that are getting out of the Army, because you need your kids covered and everything too, and that can get really, really expensive on the civilian side.
Yeah, I can imagine it probably does. Yeah, it was a good piece of information. What else did you get out of that interview, Andrew Collis?
The wounds that never heal, and like we said in our introduction to season 2, that we deal with Egan's and Torrey's. It's wounds on the inside that, like, I never knew that about Egan, and they just seem to linger inside them for a long time. And like, especially with like Egan and Torrey, it's like it takes years to even deal with that stuff. So hopefully they all get at a point, and if they need help, they get it, and they can heal those wounds.
Yeah, I guess survivor's guilt was a lot of it for both of them so far. It's been a pretty interesting, like we predicted or said at the beginning of the season. This season's more about unseen injuries as opposed to the first one, which was a lot more visual and stuff you could see on somebody that got hurt.
Yeah, and overall, it was a good point or a good thing to have an officer come in. Hopefully, we get more officers stepping up and wanting to do interviews with us. And from someone who's enlisted or who was enlisted, it's cool to have that officer point of view. You kind of look at the same situation in different ways, you know. So that's all I got for him. You did a bonus podcast this episode this week.
Right, Andrew. So this week, as you recall, last week I did the radio interview, and I met somebody who wrote a book about her experience in the Army. Her name is Lisa Kirk, and she has a book called In and Out of Uniform. So I talked to her to come over to the studio that I have here in my home, and she recorded a little bit and spoke about her book. It was a pretty good interview. Additionally, next week, or Friday, we have coming out John Fowler. Now, John Fowler's story is really unique. For those of you listening, it's an interesting story. It's a good story, and we'll do the AAR on that one later. I don't want to give too much of it away. But what are your thoughts on that, Andrew?
Oh, yeah. John Fowler is definitely an interesting listen. It's entertaining, and we definitely talk about some stuff that hasn't been brought up in the podcast before. Before we go, what name are you going to publish?
I'll just publish it under Lisa Kirk.
All right, sounds good. That's all I got. I'll talk to you later, Scott.
All right, Andrew. Have a great day. Thanks, everybody, for listening again. Like and subscribe. If you think you have a story you want to share with us, please, survivingasacivilian.casting@gmail.com. Until next time. Thank you for listening to this episode. Getting the message out about suicide prevention is a team effort. We need people to be brave enough to tell their stories. We need supporters to care enough to spread the word. If you have a story you want to share, please email us at survivingasacivilian.casting@gmail.com. And if you want to help share this project, like and subscribe to Surviving as a Civilian on Instagram and Facebook. The most important thing Andrew and I want to get across is that if you need help, get help. And if you can give help, please do it. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is at 1-800-273-8255. Until next time.